Lesson 4-5, Fractions and Decimals. So our decimal system is based on a power of 10. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, so on and so forth. So if the denominator of a fraction is a power of 10, you can use that place value to write the fraction. So by that I mean if we had the fraction 7/10, that 10 is your power of 10, so you can write it in that place value. So you write it how you say it. You say 7/10. So we have 0.7 because we know that our place value is the 10th place is one spot after. So if we had 7/100, again, you write it like you say it. So you put the 7 in the 100th spot, and then you fill the other place values with zeros. So let's look at some examples on writing a fraction as a decimal. So let's look at the example 7/20. So we have 7/20. We know that 20ths is not a place value that we have. Everything is in tens. So we want to figure out what we can do to make the denominator a power of 10. Well, we can't drop it to 10 because we cannot do anything. To get the denominator at 10, we have to divide 20 by 2. But we cannot divide the top by 2 without getting a decimal. So that idea doesn't work. So that means we could multiply it by something to get a power of 10. Well, our next power of 10 is 100. So what did we do to 20 to get 100? We multiplied it by 5. So we can multiply the top by 5 and get 35. So you say this as 35/100ths. So that means we have our decimal point and our 35 is in the 100ths spot. We can also do this with whole number in fractions. So 5 3/4. So the 5 automatically goes in front of the decimal point because it's a whole number, and then you just have to look at the fraction. So now we have 3/4. Again, we want to try to turn it into a 10, 100, or 1,000. Well, we look at that and we say we cannot turn 4 into 10, but we can turn 4 into 100. So we would multiply top and bottom by 25, and we know that this is 75. So we write it as 0.75. So that is our that's our decimal to represent our fraction. Pause the video to try a few examples. 3/10, again we write it as it said, and if it has a 10 or 100 or 1,000 in the denominator, we can just write it out. So 3 in the 10ths spot. Now we have 6 1/2. 6 goes out front, and we have to turn the 1/2 into a fraction. Some of you may already know that 1/2 is 0.5, but if not, we can get that 0.5 because we can turn 2 into 10 by multiplying it by 5. So what we do to the bottom, we do to the top, and so we get 5/10, which is written as 0.5. When using division, you divide the numerator by the denominator. So you take 3 divided by 8. 8 cannot go into 3, so we say it's a 0. Then we add our decimal point after a 3, and whatever you put behind the 3, you put above the decimal bar. Add another 0. 8 can go into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Thanks to Kaylin and Avery for pointing this out. On the previous slide, I had a 4, so I am making corrections. 8 times 3 is 24. 30 minus 24 is 6. So if you have any remainders, you add another 0 and you bring it down. 8 can go into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56 with 4 left over. Again, we add a 0, bring it down. 8 can go into 45 times. So the decimal for 3/8 is 0.375. A terminating decimal is one whose digits end. A repeating decimal is one that continues on and on forever, like the example you see here of 0.33333 repeating forever. When we have a decimal like this, we use a bar notation and we put it over top of the number that is repeating, and then we just write the number like that. So this number could be written as 0.3 repeating. Instead of writing out all the threes, you just make sure that you put the bar notation above the number that's repeating. Let's take a look at this example together. We have 7/9. So you divide 7 by 9. Again, 9 cannot go into 7, so we add a decimal point. So we add one up top and a 0. 9 can go into 70 7 times. 9 times 7 is 63. So we have a 7 that comes down. We bring down a 0. 9 goes into 77 times. So you can tell that this number is going to continue to repeat. So I would write my answer as 0.7 with the repeating bar above it. Pause the video to complete the lesson review. Make sure you show me the lesson review for verification of this video.